Hello and welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Panels for the new year, 2021. Hopefully this year will be a much quieter year. But looking back, I thought we would do some vintage titles from the good old days since the current climate has been so fun and interesting lately. So this week I've picked more of my favorite vintage Marvel reads. So my first one is Daredevil, and this is one of the quintessential Daredevil stories. It's called Born Again, and it's by Frank Miller. It's a pretty heavy read. This is where Karen Page, which was Daredevil's secretary, has fallen on hard times and is a drug addict in Mexico now, and she ends up selling Daredevil's secret identity for drugs, and it finds its way to his arch nemesis, the Kingpin. And so the Kingpin does everything he can to ruin Matt Murdock's personal life and drive him over the breaking point. So this is just like one of the most famous Daredevil stories. It's pretty dark, but it's a great read. And it also has a very timely tale in here. So the Kingpin is the Kingpin of crime that is a wealthy businessman and philanthropist by day, but really he runs all the rackets in New York. And at the very end of this, he hires out a super patriotic super soldier called Nuke and tells him that the mainstream media has run a smear campaign against him, and it is all the media's fault, and he should kill Daredevil. So he goes after Daredevil, and Daredevil has to team up with Captain America to stop Nuke. So this is a great Daredevil read. If you've ever been curious about the character, it's one of those things where you can just pick up and read it. You don't need too much backstory about it because it'll catch you up. So my next one is one of my absolute favorites. I'm a big Avengers fan, and this is some fun Avengers stuff. This is part of Marvel's Epic Collection line, which is really cool. They capture like whole story arcs. So I actually have a Captain America one to talk about in a bit. But this one is the Avengers versus the Defenders. And this guy that orchestrates it all is the Collector, who you might remember from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. But this follows the Avengers and another team of Marvel superheroes called the Defenders that were like a very powerful, it was like a C-list title almost, but they were much more powerful than the Avengers because they had Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, the Hulk, and the Submariner, and then later on they added additional heroes like the Black Knight and Valkyrie, who was in Thor Ragnarok. But this is the usual misconceptions have pitted a team of superheroes against another team of superheroes, and they are in this game to collect special objects from throughout the world. So this is a fun sort of big crossover event. And it also has Black Panther in here. It has a story of his in there. It has some early Thanos appearances where he fights the Avengers and the original Captain Marvel, the male Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers. And it also has them fighting a supergroup based off the Zodiac, which is another kind of neat read. And it also features early appearances of the Mantis, who is in Guardians of the Galaxy, but she was originally an Avengers supporting cast member and then joined the Avengers. My next one is also one of the Epic collections. This is Captain America, and this is classic 80s Captain America. This is originally when they announced the second Captain America movie, Civil War, they teased it as Society of Serpents, as kind of like a joke. But this is what the collection is named, and it follows a lot of the Serpents Society, which was a criminal organization of supervillains that all had snake motifs. So, like Cottonmouth, Diamondback, Bushwhacker, and this is one of my favorite covers, and that's probably why they chose it for the cover of this collection, with him teaming up with Hawkeye and them switching weapons. But this is a great read. It has lots of great art, lots of great heroes in it. You even get to see Batroc, the Leaper, who was also in the movies, but he is an expert in the French martial art of savate, which is boxing with one's feet. So my next one is SpiderMan. So this one is a Wizard Masterpiece edition. I don't believe they still publish, but Wizard used to be a comic book magazine that kind of reported on all sorts of comic and pulp culture nerdy goings-on. And this one has 10 of the greatest Spider-Man stories ever told. So there's some great ones in here. There is a two-parter where Spider-Man fights the Juggernaut, called Nothing Stops the Juggernaut. And he is trying to save someone the Juggernaut is sent to kill, and Spider-Man is totally out of his league. There's also a story in here about a chronically ill little boy who's Spider-Man's biggest fan, and Spider-Man goes to visit him and reveal his secret identity to him, which is a nice, really heartwarming tale. It also has a grim, gritty 80s tale in here about a serial killer killing Spider-Man's friend that was a captain in the police, and it has him trying to stop this serial killer and kind of at his breaking point and has to be reeled in by Daredevil. But this has a whole bunch of neat stories in here. So definitely worth a look at if you are interested in some more Spider-Man. And then my next one is Iron Man. That's why I wore my Iron Man shirt today. But this is a story arc called Armor Wars, where in the process of analyzing some weaponry that he had confiscated off a supervillain, he is just shocked and horrified to see that he recognizes some of his proprietary circuitry in the supervillain's weapons, stuff that he never copyrighted or anything like that, or patented. And so he kind of goes nuts and goes on this crusade to stop both heroes and villains who have used his intellectual property of his Iron Man designs in their designs. So he goes after like Stingray and Dr. Doom, the Controller, the Guardsman. So this is a really fun read. My next one is very loosely based off the second X-Men movie from the early millennium. This one is God Loves, Man Kills, and it's about a bunch of religious fanatics and government officials that are trying to segregate, exterminate, and pass legislation against mutants for being different. So this was one of the very first original Marvel graphic novels in the 80s. So this was apart from the regular series and just its own. That's essentially what the term graphic novel comes from, was original material never before published. So this is definitely required reading for Marvel and X-Men to begin with. It's much better than the movie adaptation. And it's pretty fun. It's became a meme in recent years because one of the congressmen bears striking similarities to someone in government right now that has similar ideas. So that's fun. And my next and final one is some Punisher stuff. This is another one of the original graphic novels. Punisher originally debuted in SpiderMan and was so popular, he spun out on his own. And this one has one of my favorite artists from the 70s and 80s, Mike Zeck, who worked probably most famously on Secret Wars, and he also had a pretty long run on Captain America 2. But this is a story about the Punisher's past. He stumbles on a gun-running rig that has ties back to his military career and a sergeant he knew in basic training that has gone corrupted. So if you've ever been interested in Punisher, we have lots of classic 80s Punisher, as well as the Garth Ennis run from the early millennium that people really like. So I hope you found some neat nostalgic reads this week, and I will see you guys next week. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any ideas for me, leave them below in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy New Year.